Good morning. Great morning.
Go start there.
It is time to skip the BS. Time for Undisputed. Time for you to respond to us. Right here, right now, at hashtag Undisputed Live. Time for me to remind everyone that the team that beat the Cowboys 42-10 now has 2 losses, just like the Cowboys. Happy days are here again. We are back in business. But now it's time to bring in 2 ex-stars who almost certainly will disagree with what I just said. My man Keyshawn Johnson all the way across from me. And looky here, we got LeSean McCoy, 6-time Pro Bowler who did play for those hated Eagles for 6 seasons. You can, of course, see LeSean every day on FS1 Speak. But he joins us today to talk about what happened last night. Nice to see you, sir. I cannot compete with your bling. Even I can't compete with all that stuff.
We had to bring in a little bit of reinforcement for you.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit of
reinforcement. You're going to need some help today because I think you're running scared.
I knew exactly what was going to happen as the clock started to tick.
What did you learn about Brock Purdy and the 49ers last night?
I didn't actually, be honest with you, Skip. I really didn't learn anything. The thing that I learned is a 17-game season. I'm not about to get all prisoner of the moment in this situation. You look at the football game and you look at where it was at. You look at the things that happened in the game. There was no Deebo Samuel to be seen. That is the toughness that we talk about, the aggressiveness, the physicality. It was missing. Trent Williams, physicality once again missing. Now, look, when you start to break down the game from beginning to end, obviously the interception by Ward didn't lead to any points, so to speak, right?
Because McCaffrey fumbled.
Now McCaffrey fumbles the football. That was a mistake. You missed a field goal. That was a mistake. So you start to look at the team and you assess it right before the half. The young pup in Jordan Addison, I'd like to claim him at USC, even though he started his career at Pitt Panthers.
Come on now.
But I'm going to claim him much like Oklahoma claims Jalen Hurts because that's where he ended at.
That's where he learned to throw the football.
And so when you talk about those sort of things, he takes the ball away from Ward, scores the touchdown. Now when you look at it, the thing that and I know I started off by saying I didn't learn a whole lot because it's a 17-game season. What I did learn is the Minnesota Vikings defense played when they needed to, solid and sound. Unlike when they played against the Philadelphia Eagles, giving up 260-plus yards on the ground and only allowed 60 yards on the ground or so against the San Francisco 49ers. So they completely stepped up to the plate. When you mitigate something away from Brock Purdy that allows him to be Brock Purdy, although Purdy played okay, didn't play great, didn't play bad, last 5 minutes of the game, the 2 interceptions, ill-advised throws, in my opinion, in terms of those picks. You look at when he's played from ahead, he's 12-1, 12 touchdowns to 1 interception. When he's had to come from behind, he's had 5 TDs and 4 INTs. So you start to look at that and you start to break things down and you say to yourself, this was not the best game played by the San Francisco 49ers. Nick Bosa looked like another defensive end in the conference. I'm not going to mention any names. I think you know who I'm talking about. He didn't put any pressure at all on the quarterback, so to speak, and harass them.
Wait,
Yes, this is the defense.
Did he play?
This is the defense that was one of the top.
Play last night.
I don't remember. Did he play?
This was one of the top defenses a couple weeks ago. They are still a top defense, although they've gone and made some mistakes along the way. Now, I understand the party is on. They got the same record. But the one thing, Skip, that you are missing, they beat the you-know-what out of y'all. So they're ahead of y'all.
That was a long time ago. That was ancient history.
Doesn't matter, though, man. Doesn't matter.
You always tell me, what does it matter about yesterday? How about today?
No.
Tomorrow?
Yesterday meaning 1970, not 2 weeks ago. I'm talking about history, not a couple days ago.
Shady McCoy, can you do any better than that?
I mean, you talking about that. They're not the best team in the NFC.
No.
See, that's what I learned. See, what I learned from these last 2 weeks is that they are not the best team in the NFC. It's easily the Eagles, right? That's another topic. But one thing about Brock...
We'll get to that in just a minute. Yes.
Brock Purdy is a young quarterback. And I think these last 2 weeks his youth has showed, especially when a lot of the players are not there, right? You talk about Deebo Samuel not being there. Trent Williams. And even McCaffrey not being 100%.
He was not.
They're used to this team being the bullies. Last night, I didn't see no bullies. I see the Vikings being bullies. I seen the Vikings stand up to this tough 49ers team. I mean, the first 5 weeks, we talked about how he's, been 5, what is he? No picks. Last 2 weeks, got 3 picks.
Yep.
That's for a reason.
There you go.
When the running game is not working for the Niners.
It was not.
You're starting to see the youth, Brock Purdy forcing these throws. He played solid, but he didn't play well enough to win. And I think the way they win is they run the ball well. They play tough physical defense.
Yes.
I mean, they've been averaging 30 points a game. Last night, what they had, 17? What are they?
17,
21. So you're seeing the formula of how they win games. And I think Brock Purdy is still the second best quarterback in NFC. I still believe that. Just that the formula of how they win. They need to run the ball. They need to be able to dominate on the line of scrimmage, get McCaffrey going, and get some of his players back. Because if not, we're going to keep saying this. Lose, lost.
Well, they lost some of the physicality. And I think,
right.
Skip, you know that. I think you don't want to admit it, but when you lose 2 anchors on your offensive side of the ball,
that matters.
Not play from a physical standpoint, that matters.
Okay. So you can chalk this up to on any given Sunday or Monday night in the National Football League that you both played at in a high level. But it's starting to feel like for the 49ers, it's every given Sunday, because just when I thought they were about to separate from the world and go into another galaxy, another universe far, far away, they went up to Cleveland and lost to P.J. Walker. They went up to Minnesota and they lost to a Kirk Cousins who was 2-10 on Monday Night Football, who was 12-21 overall on any big stage, solo stage night games that he's played in his NFL career. They went up to Minnesota, where my Dallas Cowboys went up there 3 years ago with Andy Dalton at quarterback and beat Kirk Cousins. 2 years ago, we went up there with Cooper Rush at quarterback in his first NFL start and beat Kirk Cousins. Last year, we, the Dallas Cowboys, went to Minnesota and played Kirk Cousins and beat him 40-3, which is even worse to me than 42-10. We beat Kirk Cousins 40-3, and Kirk Cousins threw the all-time party last night on a defense that I have had to hear incessantly about is dominating and too physical and blah, 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 blah. And wait a second, 8 of 13, Kirk goes on third down, and they roll up 452 yards and punt only 1 time? Are you kidding me? And they get it. Do the Minnesota Vikings, they get it 1st and goal at the 2 and come away with the field goal, and 1st and goal at the 1 and come away with the field goal. This actually could have been a lot worse than 22-17. And again, how could I not love what Brock Purdy had done through 10 games? Because he won his first 10 games. Probably would have won the NFC Championship game at your Eagles if he hadn't gotten hurt. I don't know, but the way they were rolling, I would have liked their chances. But I kept telling Keyshawn, I watched Brock Purdy a whole lot at Iowa State. I watched him for 4 years at Iowa State, and I never saw this. I saw kind of a gamer, maybe an overachiever a little bit, who knew how to play and gutsed it up and gave you his best shot and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but last night he started looking a little more in the fourth quarter like the Iowa State quarterback. He started to fall back to earth, and it did make me...
How? Where?
Okay.
2 picks?
Two picks in the fourth quarter?
So he started to fall back because he threw 2 picks at the end of the game.
Well, that's not a good sign.
So he started all of a sudden look like Iowa State again?
Can we see
almost
the
made me
2
call
picks?
you somebody else.
What's that? What did you almost do?
I almost called you somebody else I used to work with.
No.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You don't do that.
Well,
I mean, he does look young, but he's a young quarterback. He's having a really good start.
Could we see, here I'm sorry, I lost touch here. Keyshawn was going crazy. Here are the 2 picks. Okay, that just sailed. Right. I mean, I don't know what that was. That just was. He just threw a bad ball. Just a bad ball. He
had to get it up over the defender.
Yeah, but it just sailed on him. And then the second. Are we about to see the second pick?
It's the same one right here.
Oh, so, okay. The second pick is.
You got somebody.
What we got?
He tries to float it. That's against.
First of all, you can't throw the ball back across your body.
No.
Okay, that's the first thing. So when you talk about a young quarterback who now in the first time has really had to engineer a drive to win a game. This is not engineering a drive for a field goal against Cleveland where you only got to get 30 yards or whatever This is now I got to get my team into the end zone. So the pressure comes to bear. I'm not ready to call him a pumpkin and completely say it's over with. I'm not ready to do that yet. Because when you got good coaching and you got good players around you, they will rally behind you, and the coaches will coach you up to not make the same mistakes that you made in the past. I believe in Kyle Shanahan. I believe in Anthony Lynn and company on the offensive side of the ball for the San Francisco 49ers. So if you're thinking for 1 minute that all of a sudden the Dallas Cowboys got to slide them in here somehow, that they're going to get the number 1 seed or something weird, first of all, they got to worry about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
That's coming to San Francisco's already put them in the rearview mirror. So now you got to worry about Philadelphia in 2 weeks. After the Rams, who you got to worry about, then you got to worry about the Philadelphia Eagles going into Philly.
We coming, baby.
You mean the Eagles we get to play? We don't have to play them. We get to play them twice.
Whatever you want to call them, but you started off the show screaming and hollering, Skip, talking about basically y'all back, y'all in it. You're not. You're still probably the 4th team in the NFC behind Detroit.
And another thing is, I feel like once they get back rolling, their guys healthy again, there'll be that same team of dominating the game, running the ball, controlling the clock. They haven't been doing that because he doesn't have his guys there. Even last night, like, he's so young where when you want to carry the load, all of the top quarterbacks can do that. Guys are out, in and out, injuries. Okay, need you to win the game, do that. Brock Purdy is still a young quarterback. He can't do that yet. But once his guys get back rolling, Trent Williams come back, Debo Samuels, man, they're going to be back rolling again. McCaffrey healthy. Now, they do got to play the Eagles. I mean, you know how that is. You know. But we'll have the number 1 seed for sure.
So I got a what-if for you. What if Brock Purdy, young quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft out of Iowa State, what if he starts to lose a little confidence? Because once a young quarterback loses confidence in this league, it just drains out of his body as fast as anything you've ever seen, where you just suddenly can't find yourself. You can't figure out, who was I? What just happened to me? This is a rough league. This league sort of eats, it eats its young, if you will, because it will eat young quarterbacks.
You know, I like to ask you questions, Skip.
Well, wait a second. I haven't finished my premise. What if after 3 or 4 of these kind of games down the road, you start to wonder, whatever happened to that kid? What was his name? Trey Lance? Do you remember that kid? Whatever happened to him that they spent all those first-round picks on? And then where did he go? I don't know whatever happened. Oh, wait a second. I think he went to Dallas. I think they gave up on him in favor of Brock Purdy. And you start to wonder, are you sure about Brock Purdy? Did you make a mistake giving up so quickly on Trey Lance?
Now, are we talking about long-term, or are we talking about this season?
Well, here, right now.
Okay, here, right now. So I believe in Kyle Shanahan. Do you believe in Kyle Shanahan?
I definitely do.
Okay, so you believe so
I believe in his father.
In the end, let's play your game. That Brock Purdy starts to really the yarn starts to unravel a little bit.
Maybe.
I believe that Kyle Shanahan, much like I've seen him do in the past, bring that yarn back. Jimmy G started to unravel. Guess what he decided to do? Say, man, here's what we're going to do with you. We're going to allow you to throw 3 passes in the game, and we're going to run the football, and we're going to play defense. So when you talk about a young quarterback starting to unravel, I believe in the coach on the sideline to get him back to a position where he starts to feel good about himself again. If you remember the year that they went to the Super Bowl, they played the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if it was Minnesota first or Green Bay. I know they played those two. Jimmy Garoppolo threw a total of something like 13 passes in those 2 games.
And they ran for like 200-some yards.
Because they said, you almost threw a pick to send us home. We're not allowing that to happen again. So I believe in Kyle Shanahan, so I'm not really worried about it. If anything, what you should hope and pray for is that their schedule gets in the way. When they start to play Cincinnati, and Jacksonville, and Seattle, which knows them, and Philadelphia, Seattle, Baltimore, that's what you should be hoping and praying.
They have the 5th toughest remaining schedule.
And y'all have the 4th.
Okay, I got it.
They got culture, though, right? So when you're worried about
a young give you that.
Struggling, maybe losing confidence, they got a structure over there. They got a culture. And another thing is, I had a chance to talk to Fred Warner. And he said all these good things about the team.
How long ago? Just recently?
This was a week ago.
Okay, got it.
Just a week ago.
Yep.
And the first thing he said was, Brock Purdy is our leader.
He is.
So when I hear that, because most young quarterbacks are not the leader, right? They're following along the pattern. What are we doing? We're following that blueprint. But they said he's a leader. I'm like, wow, that lets me know that I think he is confident. And then I think going forward, you might have these bumps and bruises. This happens. He's a young quarterback. The problem is two things. One is when something goes bad, everybody wants to just sell their stock. Oh, I can't. He's not that good. He's too young. This and that and the third. No, it's 2 bad games where every superstar quarterback to young quarterback, they have that. And I want to ride that ride with him because I think he's that good. He's still young, and he's still improving.
Yet I was so taken by him. I was so convinced that he was the realest deal that I was shocked that he would throw 2 picks in the fourth quarter because he got a reprieve when Minnesota missed the field goal because all of a sudden you've got the ball back and he makes a couple of nice throws, and then all of a sudden he shocked me with that throw that ended the football game. So I give you, he's got more talent than you think. He doesn't have a huge arm, but it's certainly good enough.
Anticipation.
Cool. It's all the above. And I need to give him one prop because early on he escaped on one scramble that he took off running on.
That was nice.
See it.
Yeah,
I didn't know he had this in him. If we could see this, it's early on, second down, and he just says, "I escape." And I'm off to the races. And there was a little bit of acceleration there that I didn't know he had because I didn't see that at Iowa State at all. Okay? So he's got the ability to play at the highest level, but he was riding a magic carpet ride, obviously, for a very talented football team that was playing at full strength through all that time that we just talked about. They were not at full strength last night. And to your point,
you admit they are not at full strength?
Well, obviously they didn't.
Got to admit that.
Okay, if you don't have Debo and Trent, you're not at full strength. And McCaffrey ran hard last night, and he had the one breakaway on the little slip screen. But the point was that I'm looking at their running total, and they ran 22 times for 65 yards. That won't have that kid's back enough for you. Yeah, that's 3 yards a pop. It's not good enough. You did not dominate with your run game, and I was shocked that Minnesota ran as well as it did because it was gashing. It only had 74 total yards, but when they needed to gash, they gashed. And if I am young Kyle Shanahan this morning, I'm as worried about my defense as my offense because you got shredded last night. And that's what shocked me. I thought these guys were shut down. I thought they were invincible, and all of a sudden they don't look quite so invincible.
Well, if you go and you dive into this offensive scheme and the schematics and things that they do, what does it mirror? It mirrors the Los Angeles Rams. It's to a T. Who gives the 49ers problems in the passing game is the Los Angeles Rams. So when you look at it, they're basically playing the Rams, except it was in Minnesota. So I'm not all that worried about their defensive side of the ball against the Minnesota Vikings as much as most people would worry about them at all. You think about it, that pass before the half should have been picked. I don't know how Jordan Addison took that ball out of Ward's hands. He took it from him. That's an interception. They already got one earlier.
Well, it was the same type of catch, too.
Same thing. I mean, as a defensive back, he got that.
Give me that.
But one guy's momentum is going toward the ground. The other guy's momentum is on his feet going toward the end zone.
And one guy had already gotten humiliated by the other guy. And so he just said, no, not this time. Not in my house. I'm taking this away from you, as opposed to vice versa. And that was the play in the game because that's 7 seconds left in the half. And when you least expected it, Minnesota just scored a touchdown.
It's been a defense for me. Like, we talk about Brock Purdy, and I get it. He's young. He's been playing well. We talking about him. But it's the defense for me because they haven't looked the same. They didn't look dominant. I'm used to the 49ers defense being dominant, shutting the run down, being physical. Them 50-50 balls, knocking it away or picking it. And they haven't been doing it. So as much as we want to talk about Brock Purdy, we got to talk about that defense.
Well, the defense.
You see what they did to your Cowboys.
Well, of course.
And I didn't see nothing even close to that, right? I don't know what it was. It's like they need,
again, you got to look at the scheme, and what Minnesota presents is problematic. Sometimes, and I try to tell Skip this all the time.
What you tell him?
Sometimes the opponent is very difficult. It could be a bad team.
Yeah.
It's just a bad opponent. It's just bad matchup personnel-wise. And maybe Minnesota, much like the Rams, are just a bad situation against Kyle Shanahan and company. They have yet to understand that style offense and defend it, even though they run similar things, but not quite like the Rams in Minnesota. So you have to look at that.
Okay, but Keyshawn, you talked earlier about the yarn unraveling.
Okay.
Yeah.
No quarterback in this league has unraveled more than Kirk Cousins has. Yeah. And I used to benefit greatly.
He can't get a night.
He had a night of nights. The greatest night of his life.
Not against that type of defense.
Yeah, okay. Like that. But again, he was 2-10 on Monday Night Football. And when he was in Washington, Dak Prescott owned him. I think he wound up 5-1 against him because when you need him to unravel, he will throw it to you.
Well, he was throwing it to him.
I know. They didn't catch it. They didn't catch that one, but they caught the first one, right? Ward took the first one away. And I thought, oh, here he goes. And I told you yesterday at the end of the show right here on the air, it's Kirk Cousins. I can't trust him. I can't bet on him. I can't believe in him. I picked it 30-10 49ers, and it should have been 30-10 49ers. But Kirk didn't unravel after the first interception.
He kept going.
He just kept picking them apart. And I kept saying, how is he doing this? Because he always looks like his helmet's too big for him.
Yeah.
He looks like some kid they went up in the stands and said, can you play quarterback tonight?
Here's some pads.
Yeah, here, throw these pads on. This helmet's a little big for you, but it's okay.
Skip.
But he stands in the pocket like a little scarecrow, like, oh, don't hurt me, don't hurt me.
I like Kirk Cousins.
He's a good quarterback, but he does have times when he gives give the ball to the other team. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But
he should be familiar with a quarterback like that. Kurt and Dak's like the same person walking in there, man. One dark, one lighter.
I ain't going to say that.
The same guy. Come on.
No.
I ain't going to say that.
No. And then I read where Akers went up to him on the field in the fourth quarter and said, you got some effing dog in you. And I'm saying, you said that to Kirk Cousins? He's got no dog in him. I mean, come on. I guess last night he did.
He's seen what he's seen.
Yeah. One night. That's all it takes. Yeah. It's just one night.
Yep. And the 49ers have 2 losses. Who knew? I thought they were going to break.
You were the one talking about they going undefeated. I kept telling you not a chance.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't see the Vikings, though.
Maybe I was trying to set them up, Keyshawn.
Oh, now
you're
trying to
put them
on
the hot last night.
Now you're going to mix it, try to flip it. You're going to try to sell it to me now.
No, maybe I was being a trickster over here. Maybe I was being a shrewd operator.
You got beachfront property in Arizona, too. All right, let's get
Way to go, Kirk Cousins. I love you, man. Way to go. Congratulations, and thank you.
Money making Kurt.
Up next, oh, no. I can't wait to hear LeSean on this one. Kevin Byard is now an Eagle? You're kidding.
Our Super Bowl piece is here, baby. Let's
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.